All right. Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. It is Monday, uh, January 12th, 2026, and this is our 751st episode. We are also still at about 800. Wait, let me look here. We are going to be talking, it is Animated Series Day. We are going to be talking about Speed Racer, episodes 05 through 08. We're at 948 subscribers, 52 away from 1,000. Appreciate all of you. And before we get too much further into Speed Racer and these 4 pretty great episodes, please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Do you like it? Do you like cars? Do you like fast cars? Do you feel the need for speed like Speed Racer does? Well, that went awry. But leave me a comment, and if you could, just watch a little longer than usual. I'd really appreciate it. It so helps the algorithm. And are you ready? Drop the flag, and let's roll.
Alloy wheels, chrome details, custom paint, premium stereo. The Mystery Machine has room for 5, and the power and handling you expect from a quality driving machine. What the? Oh! Speed Racer on Cartoon Network.
Dogs should not drive.
Okay, these 4 episodes originally ran April 30th to May 21. Yes, 1967 in Japan, and then sometime later in syndication here in the States. So The Secret Engine is our first episode. It's obviously a two-parter. Most of these first 26 episodes are two-parters, but we do have a 3-parter coming up next week, which will be interesting. So things get set up really easily here. Speed's out with Chim Chim and Spritle. He's racing around. It rains. An old Model T shows up, and Speed knows what it is, and he loves it because he's a gearhead and a car head. Are they called car heads? Well, wooden spoke wheels, and so. But the old Gramps and his granddaughter there don't like people, but Speed helps him out anyway. The sun comes out after he's taken. Apparently, it's the middle of the day, and then he goes on to his race. We do hear that Tongue Blackguard has escaped from prison, so they warn people about that. And there is Fireball Rust, who's training Speed and the other racers. And Speed fails at one task. Racer X shows up out of the blue because who ran away from in all 4 episodes, the narrator tells us this. This is a bigger trope right now than Spritle hiding in the trunk of the Mach 5. But nobody's as fast as Racer X, even when he's just running. But he is cool. So he gets in there, he jumps into the Mach 5 and races around, and then just hops off and leaves. Tire screech and gets back into the Shooting Star. So Speed and the 2 troublemakers leave. They run back into what's his name now? Lightfinger's Klepto Jr. And they take him back home. And somehow, apparently, the granddaughter drives the Model T back. That beggars some questions, but here he is at a home. He's adopted all these kids except for his daughter, who is his granddaughter. So he's adopted everyone. He wants to have some more money so he can open a house, open his house up more. So he's really, despite his gruff nature, he's got a heart of gold. There's old Tongue Blackguard himself. What a name. And they steal his Model T because they know about his father, who Lightfinger's Klepto. He's Lightfinger's Klepto Jr. And he was bad, a first-class crook, and he got killed. But he made sure he saved my Model T. So he does. Of course, Tongue Blackguard steals it, but they find it, and it needs fixed up. So they bring it over to Pops and Sparky, who are opening a garage and need business, and they fix it. And then all of a sudden, all the other Model T owners in 1967, wherever this is supposed to be, show up there to get help. But now they're paying it. They fixed Klepto's there for Klepto Jr. there for free, but everyone else has to pay. Tongue Blackguard flashes back to when he was in prison. And this guy here, Sure Shot, he's the one. He tells them about the treasure, the $1 billion that Klepto stole. And now they're after it. So that's the crux. There's your MacGuffin. There's the coordinates. They're following Speed. Once more, the violence is just on display here. This is a very violent cartoon. I can't believe, even in 67, 68, clear into the 70s, because apparently in syndication you could show really violent stuff for kids. And I'm so happy they did. But just great shots here. The show is, even the slower ones, and this is a bit of a slower episode, it's action-packed. Bulletproof glass, and Racer X grunts. I'm debating on taking the subs off next time, because they say this a lot, grunts, and they have the sound effects. This is a big old helicopter, and it's full of weapon-carrying motorcyclists. See, look at the guns. Don't miss the next thrilling episode of Speed Racer, not narrated by Peter Fernandez. And there's second engine 2. Speed's been thrown off the track, but he gets away. And again, ran away from home years ago. And he shoots down there, and he helps him. But they capture Klepto Jr., Mr. Klepto Jr., and Speed. Speed does say a lot of very obvious things. Blackguard has a sumo wrestler called not Sumi. That is from the Double Dragons episode of Terror of the Dragons. Well, from Johnny Quest, but same sort of deal. There he is. Speed sends a coded message to Trixie, and off they go. They're going to split the $1 billion 3 ways. Yeah, right. But his radio's not working, and he sends out Blackguard starts playing with the remote control robot, and it flies off. But Trixie gets the message and figures it out, and then they use this girl here who's kind of beat up and disheveled, and she's just all over Speed, so which should be a clue right there. Very distracting. I bet Trixie. It turns out to be Trixie, of course, who gets the guy in the back there off with she pushes the button on the steering wheel, closes the cockpit, and off they go. They're just shooting again. I haven't figured out, much like shooting at Superman, when he's bulletproof. Fortunately, Pops has been captured. He was waiting for him, but there's 2 stowaways, but they're in the plane and not in the Mach 5. We'll call this 0.5. So we've got 1.5 right now. They're going to take him out and kill him. Oh, except that they show him where it's marked with an X. I thought Racer X would be here, but it's not. And there's the money, but when it's exposed to air, before we get there, there's the money, and then Spritle and Chim Chim attack, and they get the local monkeys to attack. And Spritle probably just killed this guy with a giant rock to the head. So he's a pretty strong little 7-year-old, almost 8. Pops remembers he's was a former pro wrestler. I would break you. No, Pops is way cooler than Bane can ever hope to be. Speed has a fight, and Spritle saves him. I don't know why he changed his clothes or what happened to him, because, but he does, and they kill the. She went by the name Lana, so. And Racer X is helping out, by the way, but he's got a flamethrower. There he is. When I say he's helping out, he's just mowing. He killed all them too. All right, the last second, off he goes. Blackguard tries oil and fire and water. Nothing helps. And he gets up there, but the robot spy knocks the money out and open, and it disintegrates. The $1 billion just turns into dust. So, because it is paper, right? But because he captured one of the world's most dangerous criminals, they give him a $500,000 reward, and he can enter the. He thinks he can enter the. Or Trixie wants him to enter the race, but he gives it to Mr. Klepto. And there's all the kids, and everyone's happy. But more dangerous adventures lie ahead. Adventure lies ahead. In the next episode of Speed Racer, which is Race Against the Mammoth Car. This is one of the more memorable ones. Everyone, if they've seen it, remembers it because it's a giant car, which doesn't make a lot of sense, as we'll talk about. The No Limit World Race, which means cars and drivers of any size, whatever, can jump. So Sparky's doing this. He does call the driver for the Go team, which is, of course, Speed's last name in Japanese, and also the Go is also the number 5. So it's a little play on words. None of us would have known that at the time. I don't know if they do this in the future, but he calls him the Go team. I did like that. And Trixie is his navigator, and of course these two try to, but Pops comes and finds him. So good on Pops for being aware. Trixie and Sparky have a bit of a dust up here about that she can fix she's just as good, and she is one smart cookie. I mean, I'm betting that Speed was smart enough to realize that he should marry her. Anyway, there is the Mammoth car itself. Nice bright red and yellow. It's 200 yards, like 200 meters probably, but 200 yards long. That is 600 feet. That's two football fields, right? Yeah, more than. So there's a size comparison. Now they're inspecting cars because Inspector Detector's here, and this is his second appearance. The last episode was his first appearance. He'll make several throughout the series. They're looking for someone who stole $50 million in gold bars, but they can't find it. So they're like, inspect it all you want. Any kind of car can enter. Now, we all know, at least we've seen this, we know that the Mammoth car is made out of gold, which would make it probably the heaviest car in the world. And so how they can drive it and think it's a racer is beyond me. Sparky gets caught and thrown into and knocked out, and then locked into a room. They can't find him. So, yeah, he was the Dragon Racer, the famous wrestler, because his last name's Racer, of course, or Dragon Mafune, Oh, Speed's name is Go. That's not their family name. Anyway, there he is, once more telling us that this is Speed's older brother, Rex. So he's just watching. He's not even, oh wait, he is entered in the race now. Miss Racing, there's Miss Racing. She was in the previous frame, she was a little more Zoftig than she is now, but there they go, and they're off. So there's nice comparison, let you know how long this car is. How it could possibly move at the weight it has to be is beyond me. But maybe it's a thin shell. So Racer X finds Sparky. He is not in the race. So, and they're going. Speed, again, it's a little slow, but figures out there's a mysterious secret about the Mammoth car. And he tries to send an X-ray camera out, but it gets shot. It returns with a bullet hole in it. And there is our villain. Let's see if I can find his name there. It shows up, Cruncher Block. That is completely Peter Fernandez's sense of humor. All of it, he names all the villains that way. Racer X also because his name's Racer. And Racer, if you say it quickly, you get Racer Rex. And this is so yeah. They actually say it again that he's in disguise. So that's twice in this episode. And it's also got a bunch of armored or motorcyclists with weaponry. But Racer X saves him again. Now, Speed should start wondering why Racer X is always around. But look who's stowing aboard the Mammoth car. Does that count? I'm going to give that another half. So we're up to 2 in 8 episodes where they've stowed aboard. Cruncher Block has an argument with his minion. And there we go. They're after us. So the buzzsaws actually work, but I try to get away, and the car just chases him and plows through it because it's gigantic and weighs 7,000 pounds. It is also armed to the teeth, but it can't get through the bulletproof glass. This goes on a while. It's not, I can't say this first part is my favorite, but they drop into the water, and will he be able to escape from the depths of this northern lake? Part two. Guess what? They're able to escape. Mammoth car, Colin Cruncher block, and the lake icy chill. Yep, that's Peter's sense of humor. So, but they use the telescanner, and Mammoth car is gone. So they send a message. They've replaced they send a message by tape, but they're sending it to Inspector Detector. Off it goes, and you see he yells at him, calls them stoneheads, which is pretty funny instead of blockheads. It's them, all right. And then there it is. That's 3 times in 2 episodes, and that makes 5 times so far in these 4 episodes. That's just lovely. I mean, the Japanese cartoons did not look like American ones, which is good. Gives you a nice little, you don't get the same flavor all the time. But then Hanna-Barbera cartoons did not look like Filmation. Filmation didn't look like De Petty Furlang. So it's good. They're shooting at them. Kids are in danger. I mean, they're older teenagers. Speed's got to be close to 18. And I would assume Trixie might actually be a bit older than him because she doesn't have parents to report to. And they're still aboard. They've stowaways aboard the plane. Now they're luckily, and they actually come in handy. They try to rescue Speed. Spritle does not. But fortunately, Racer X, who is secretly Speed Racer's older brother Rex, helps him. And Speed's just looking at him, and he's like, "Tell me what you think." And Speed doesn't say anything. Now, I thought this visor wrapped around him, but it doesn't. They're just like glasses. I wonder. So he must have some peripheral vision, or maybe they're glasses. But we'll never know. And look, this time they had to go back in the trunk, and it's a good thing they're small. And race and run, just once again, beautiful shots here. This is the checkpoint. They have to check in to prove that they're still racing. And once again, Inspector Detector wants to look at it, but Speed tells Pops that they're there, but they run out and once again, they stow away. So another 0.5 because it's not in the Mach 5. So we're at 2.5 stowaways in 8 episodes. But they see this, so off they go. And they tie, so they both win the race, but they just keep racing through town. This doesn't bode well. Speed runs out of control, and these two dress up for the first time as an enemy agent and clunk the two drivers, and then realize they can't drive, and it blows up. Speed rescues them, and then it starts to melt, and we find out that it's what's made of gold there. I'm assuming they scraped it all back up, maybe? I don't know. Cruncher about has a heart attack, or at least he's all verklempt. And they give Speed wins. They give these two an award because Spritle's pouting. And guess what? It's full of candy. And then they eat too much and go into a sugar coma, and everyone laughs. All right. Okay. And then I just wanted to include, so the credits here are all redone. I really should try to find the closing credits to put that in so you can see what they looked like originally. I mean, they didn't do anything, but they're just all redone. So maybe they couldn't get a good enough copy, or they were only 16 millimeter prints, or there weren't any negatives. We'll never know. There's Peter, who also was the voice of Speed Racer and Racer X, and everyone else. So this is what we're going to be watching tomorrow, which is one I actually saw in the theater. But oops, let's turn this down a tidge. There we go. All right, my fellow agents. It is Wednesday, Black and White Wednesday, or Black and White Tuesday. I'm a day ahead of myself. I've got the day off my assignment on Wednesday, so I'm weird on my days. But until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off. I am phasing out.
Something? It's a
tank.
It's a sub.
It's a plane.
Let's put it in orbit.
I'll drive it.
What are you, some kind of nuts?
Yeah, astronauts.
When the Three Stooges enter the race for space, everyone else runs for the hills. The first stop on their trip to the moon is a kooky spook house.
Looks like a country club for zombies.
You ought to know. You swept me off my feet. I'm being carried away. I'm safe. Safe in your arms, darling. Safe.
In their top secret laboratory, the Stooges are safe from all intruders, except a couple of spies from Mars.
Who are those jokers?
They're actors. Lame brain, can't you see the makeup? The professor probably hired them before we got here.
Wama booba daigu. Yaba haba mama booba dagu.
Take the machine at once. Destroy the Earth as you leave.
Destroy the Earth.
When the Stooges gum up the goofy plans of a gang of gruesome Martians, who's to know who's friend or foe?
That's right. This is a red alert. Repeat, red alert.
How we fix the gas?
How we fix the gas? Well, the arrow's pointing halfway. I don't know whether it's half empty or half full.
Did you see what I just saw?
Now see him.
The Stooges versus Martians. Play Ring Around the Moon.